I was my mom's little husband, not her son. My brother and I were her husbands. We were meant to take care of her, her feelings, her emotions. She leaned on us, she vented to us. Things we should have never known as children, we knew. Everything in her relationships that were going on with friends, our stepdad, our biological dad. We knew every transgression that happened in the house. And we always heard our parents arguing, and they would argue in front of us or in the house, but behind a closed door. So we really never ever felt safe emotionally or supported. And that was the frustrating part. And that's where I feel like my childhood was robbed from me. And that's what led to no contact. And a lot of what I'm trying to unpack is still to this day, my mom leaned on us so much for emotional support that it's very hard for me to hear people's, it's almost compassion fatigue, right? I spent my whole life taking care of my mom. Once we started driving, we would take her to doctor's appointments. She was in and out of the hospital because I think of anxiety and trauma, but she just never faced it. And oftentimes there was a lot of verbal abuse that happened as we got older. My mom would sleep 15, 20 hours a day, and she would come out randomly and yell at all of us, my brother, my dad, and myself, that the house wasn't clean or something crazy was going on, and then she would just go back to sleep. She was like in a daze, which I totally have compassion for because obviously she was struggling mentally. So these are things that led up to me going no contact that a lot of people don't understand. That I was parentified from a young age to take care of my mom, to take care of her needs, and never put my needs first. So as I got older, the verbal abuse continued on. I was always responsible for taking care of her, or if I didn't really react the way that she wanted me to, it was being yelled at. I remember going to therapy one time with her, and the goal for us to go to therapy with my brother and I was for her to have the therapist tell us how disrespectful we were and everything else. And that ended with the therapist saying, hey, you know what? If you keep acting this way, your kids are going to go no contact because you're putting too much responsibility on them. It's not their role to take care of you. And while that was validating, my mom got up, yelled at the therapist, and started to run out of the office and then fell down the stairs. It was the craziest event that happened. But these are things that led to the no contact. There were decades of this going on. We were put into roles that we should have never been put in. And I know a lot of you guys are in those roles as well. So I want you to know, if you were put in those roles, it was never fair. And I know you have to climb out of this, but you can climb out of it. And you've got this. I hope that you're healing and you're finding your way. I love you.
Good question. I'm going to go grab some French toast sticks and then we'll get into this with some screenshots. So to start off, this is the article that I'm going to be using. Now, as you can see, it's a regular article. That being said, it was medically reviewed, so I feel that it's a fairly good example. Now, there's lots to read on this page, but I want to focus down the bottom. That's why I'm up top, where it says she might have gotten used to turning to him on a near daily basis for things like home repairs, computer help, the simple comfort at the end of the day. You ever notice that, like, when people talk about mother-in-laws being overbearing, they're saying, like, she calls him all the time. She needs help. She expects him to take care of things, or she's calling to complain about her husband, or whatever the deal might be. That's what they're referring to. That is making your child your spouse. Your child doesn't need to be doing any of this for you. I'm going to move me down and just focus right here that sometimes the mother has christened the son the man of the house. And I'm sure you've heard this where people be like, well, you're the man of the house now, son, because your dad's not here. You have to. No, he is not the man of any house until he gets his own house. He is your son. In this article, they talk about some different people that might do this. Lonely mothers. And I feel this is a little harsh to say just like lonely mothers because motherhood can be lonely. But it goes on to basically talk about parentifying a child. So usually it's the oldest child and usually it's the boy. And again, I talked about, oh, you're the man of the house now, right? So you'll have these sons that take on the burden of what a father should be doing. He'll help with the siblings. And people throw that under, well, that's just helping out with the house. And it's not their job to help out with the house. Their job is to be a child at this point and for you to treat them like a child so that they can be an adult when it's their time to be an adult. This is a great page to read. You could read the bolded section, but the section beneath the bolded section is the one that really gets to me. Such mothers will proudly say how their 8-year-old son understands them better than their husband. Enough said. We don't want 40-year-old men out here acting like 14-year-old boys. Well, that's because they didn't get to naturally emotionally mature at the correct age during the correct time. When your children are babies, you baby them. When they're toddlers, they're toddlers. When they're kids, they're kids. When they're high school, they're high school. And then when they're gone, they're adults. That's when they can be more your friend. But even when they can be more your friend, there's still boundaries. And that leads us to this, which I'm talking about in a video that'll be posted soon. Now, I hope this answers your questions, but if it doesn't, it should have opened up some doors where you can look into it deeper if you'd like to. But the takeaway is that your sons are your sons and they're not your husbands. They're not there to provide emotional stability. They're not there to provide emotional intimacy. They are not there to do the chores around the house. They are not there to be the man of the house. If there is no man in the house, then there's just no man in the house. Your sons don't step up into that.
Hey, Jen, what would lead a mother to treat their son like a romantic partner?
This is what we think of as mother-son enmeshment, and there can be lots of reasons. One could be that the mother herself is very emotionally immature, or maybe a narcissist. She could be living in a lonely and loveless marriage. Needs are not being met. Project those onto her son, maybe beginning to burden him with duties, responsibilities, or make him a surrogate partner, confiding in him overly. When the woman is codependent and her emotional hunger is then projected onto her son, she might be overprotective of him when he's young and then later starts to burden him with adult things he shouldn't be concerned with, and then fosters incompetence in him at some times as well. The man themselves is often burdened with guilt, and because he's trauma bonded with his mother, has a really hard time setting any kind of limits with her.
This message is for all the boy moms who hate men or who have discentered men out of their lives. I just want you to know that it's not fair to your son to have to be the man in your life to take care of you. We know this, that so many women have sons who don't have a relationship with men, who hate men, or all this, that they put so much pressure on their boys to be there for them and to take care of them. And a lot of it is a lot of manipulation and guilt tripping into their sons to be the man in their lives. Because you've chosen to not create healthy relationships with men, to allow certain things from men, to not get the result from men, you have now put it on your son to be there for you. And in turn, it creates unhealthy relationships with him, for him with women in his life, because you are making him feel like you are the most important thing in his world. And if anyone comes before him, he's a terrible child. I can't tell you the countless amount of times of working with women who are having these disagreements or tough relationships with their partner's mothers because of that right there, right? Their mother won't let them go. Their mother guilt tripping them to feeling bad. They have to be there in every way possible for their mom because she doesn't have anybody. So now he can't live his life. He can't be happy with his family. He can't be the husband that he may want to be because he has to now make sure that his mother knows that she's not forgotten. But had you had chosen better, had you had made better choices, had you done the work to heal, your son would not have to be your everything and when it comes to being the man in your life. It's just not healthy. It's not fair. And as women who have sons, just know that your son is not here to be your man. He's there to be your son. That's it. That's all.
Boy moms, listen up. It is not cute when you turn your sons into replacement husbands. You're setting them up to fail. While it sounds sweet when you call him the little man of the house, you're literally robbing him of his childhood. He's not your protector. He's not your therapist. He is not your nurturer or your emotional caregiver. You are teaching him that love means minimizing himself and putting your needs first. And that's going to ruin his relationships because he is going to overdo himself in his relationships or run like hell from them because he doesn't know what intimacy looks like, and intimacy then feels like a trap. That's not motherhood. That's emotional incest. And you're literally robbing him of his future. So think before you do these things. I love you.
Narcissistic mother and son enmeshment. Enmeshment is a relationship where there are not clear boundaries between two people. Often this can be in family, but any relationship can have enmeshment. And in this kind of scenario, the narcissistic mother, she discourages her son from becoming his own person and becoming autonomous. She might often use guilt and shame if the guy tries to do his own thing or starts having a girlfriend, for example. I've even heard mothers say, and go as far as to say, I hope my son turns out gay, so he'll never leave me. This is an example of enmeshment, and it's not a healthy relationship. It's a relationship that is too close for comfort. And I've heard women who were going out with men who were enmeshed with their mothers, and the guy had to run every decision in his life by his mother. And the woman felt like the odd person out between the son and his mother. Not a healthy situation.